How do we get this low? You come over and we start a fight. Never know who's wrong or right. Feel nothing when you go. I know it's not intelligent, drinking for the hell of it, but that's irrelevant now. We should talk about us. How come we're holding on? Cause really I don't see the benefits now. When you've broken my trust, so I just wonder, why do I fall back to you? Really nothing I can do about it. Why do I fall back to you? It's like you're a drug to me, I can't quit. It's not like we're still 22, trying something new just to pass time. I don't think that we ever could work this out. None of it makes sense, there's no reason why I still fall back to you. I should probably let you go. I know I can be cynical, make everything difficult, but it would take a miracle now to fix our problems. How come we're holding on? Cause really I don't see the benefits now. And you've broken my trust, so I just wonder, why do I fall back to you? Really nothing I can do about it. Why do I fall back to you? It's like you're a drug to me, I can't quit. It's not like we're still 22, trying something new just to pass time. I don't think that we ever could work this out. None of it makes sense, there's no reason why I still fall back to you. Why do I fall back to you? Why do I fall back to you? Fall back to you, fall back to you. Why do I fall back to you? Why do I fall back to you?
Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Dan. This is Tweet FPV. Thank you for coming out to my weekly live stream. Stream every Sunday, most of the time, 10 a.m. Central Time. Central Time. That's where I'm at. Dirty South. We into Central Time. How's everybody doing this morning? Rob Logan Jr., thank you so much. As always, first person on the board every morning. Thank you so much. Huge contributor over on my Discord as well. JFPV. Kicking out some killer edits. You can find those on his YouTube channel, or he links them in my video section over on Discord. If you're not getting the hint, maybe you should join my Discord if you're not already. Morgan Upshot. Yeah. Stuff. Speedy Turtle, how are you doing this morning, my friend? I haven't seen you in a while. Actually, never mind, I have, but nice that you came out today. Greatly appreciate it. Raven187 just ordered my ELRS setup after 2 failsafes on XM Plus today. I'm ready to ditch FR Sky. Yeah, the new LoRa modulation receivers on 2.4 are in every way better than what the old modulation setup is on like the old FR Sky and clones thereof. ELRS is the way to go. Like I've said in the past, I am using ELRS on everything I can, except for my racing quads. Only reason is VTX control. Once ELRS gets VTX control going, and possibly over there updating, because that would be incredible, I would see no reason to use anything else. But until that day, I'm keeping Tracer in my race quads just because. It's not a bad protocol. It's mostly the VTX control is why I'm keeping it. Speedy tried ELRS for the first time yesterday. Speedy was at on 2.4 or 900. And what did you think? Raven thinks his jumper RX is dying. Yeah, your jumper clone FR Sky receiver. Speedy's working on his 10-inch quad today. Awesome, man. I saw like 1 or 2 pictures of that, of you dragging that thing home. Beast class is awesome, but everything's expensive on it. That 10-inch quad, are you running 6S, 8S, or 12? I'm kind of curious. Brandon Baked Beans, good morning. How are you doing, my friend? Things are kind of early where you're at, but thank you for coming out today. Always found slightly less range on the RXSR. That is surprising. The big thing I've noticed between the RXSR and the XM Plus is the RXSR doesn't seem to be affected by being too close to the radio. XM Pluses, if you get the radio within, I don't know, 4 feet of the receiver, you're going to fail safe. RXSR doesn't seem to do that, but I have also noticed that the antenna lengths are vastly different between one receiver and the next. I don't know if that's just quality control or what, but that's just the way it is. Yeah. F-port thing has always confused me. F-port's pretty simple. It's got to go to a UART TX pad with an inverter on it, unless you have an inverted S-bus pad, like on the Archer RSs, or if you solder to that little pad on the backside of the RXSR, then you don't need an inverted UART. Or if you're on F3 or F7, then it doesn't matter either. But that'll carry your RC control and telemetry over the same wire. And anymore, I don't really care too much about telemetry. I don't really use the Lewis scripts to do any of the Betaflight or VTX settings in the radio. So, I don't know. Morgan Upshot asks, who is making reliable ELRS hardware? Well, honestly, Happy Model's been doing pretty good. I think they may have a little bit of quality control. Reliable ELRS hardware. You can get hand-built receivers by people like Fatboy FPV, or you can even find them on my website. I hand-build each one of them, test each one of them on a immersion RC power meter, bind one to a already set up receiver, and then I send them on to you, both in the JR Lite and XJT format. And you can find them on my website, tweetfpv.com. Yeah, I know he's been working on VTX control using OpenTX and EP Backpack. It sounds like it's going to require some hardware changes, though, correct, Brandon? It's not going to work with existing hardware. Uh, 6S on the 10-inch. It's XL10. Didn't you get an X class recently, Speedy? Brandon Baked Beans says, honestly, I thought they were gonna. Oh my word, I didn't. Something seemed weird. Something seemed weird, but it's because I don't have the music going in the background. I always play music in the background. If you guys don't like it, let me know. I don't know. I like it, but if you don't, just let me know. We can make it go away. Peter's having a bit of a brain fart right now. Weird. Anywho. There we go. Where did it go? Flash them for the best reliability. Happy Model ELRS 2.4 are actually very reliable. Yeah, I've had very good luck with the ELRS 2.4 transmitters. I've used the Beta FPV one. The Beta FPV one is actually built really well, minus the little resistor issue that they have, but they should have corrected that on the run that's being sold right now. If you're looking for the XJT Lite format, that's the skinny one for like the Tango 2 or the X9 Lite radios or the X Lite radios, that is a really good transmitter. I really like those. And as far as receivers go, on all the whoops, I'm running EP2s. That's the little tiny Happy Model one with the SMD antenna. I put those in my whoops. The bigger quads, I run the EP1 with a normal T antenna. The T antennas that come with those Happy Model EP1s suck. Get the Immersion RC Ghost antennas, the QT antennas. Those things are really nice. And then anything where I'm retrofitting from Crossfire or Tracer to Express RLS, and most of those quads that I do that with, I'm using like a piggyback board, not a piggyback board, but like a combo board where I have the receiver and the VTX soldered to them. Any of those ones where I'm replacing a Crossfire or Tracer module that I normally would pin to a board, I'm using like the Beta FPV receivers or like the Nimimno, that one, because the pinout's exactly the same and they solder directly in place and it's a very easy transition. But that's just what I've been doing. Yeah, they are sheep. Robert Ortlep, how are you doing, my friend? Glad to see you back. Hope everything is going well with you. Yeah, thanks, Brandon. If I were to pay myself an hourly rate, I lose my ass. I'm gonna be a little slow with that button today. I lose my butt on every Express LRS module I sell, but I know that they are going out and they are working before they leave. So the QC is every single one of them gets checked. And I'll be honest with the hand-built ones that I'm doing, they run a little hot. Like quite a bit hotter than they should. So at like 250, they're putting out, I don't know, like 350 milliwatts. Nothing that I'm doing. It's just the way they're working. But then again, that is with the Immersion RC power meter, which we all know based on Bardwell's drama that it's not the most accurate thing in the world. But it is a benchmark to know that yes, it is changing power output when you do it through the Lua. Oh my God, the X Class, it's on 3S and all aluminum. Ugh, whoa. Did not know that. Friendly Nomad, what size quad do you recommend for long range? Well, this is an interesting question because I prefer to fly long range on 4-inch, like the Flywheel Explorer or the iFlight Chimera. I really kind of like the way the Chimera flew better. Or you can go with like a 7-8-inch quad, but it all kind of depends on what you want to do. If you're just going to go out and you're flying for yourself and you're on DJI, which is fun, it looks great, and it's kind of a pilot's quad. You're flying for yourself. The 4-inch long range quads with a lithium ion pack are really, really nice. Now, if you want to go out and you're trying to do max range and you want to carry a GoPro and you're going down the mountains and it's really windy where you're going, the 7 or 8-inch quad is going to be better at defeating wind gusts and handling that kind of stuff better. Plus, you're going to be able to carry more garbage with you, like cameras and bigger GPS modules and things like that. With the larger quad, larger batteries, there is a point of diminishing returns where it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I prefer to fly long range on 4-inch and on DJI as well. Yeah, Happy Model had some bad batches. Yeah, there was something going on with Happy Model with, I think, the recent batch. All the stuff I have from them has been pretty reliable. But, yeah. Start with Macarena and tell the face. Oh boy, that would be interesting. Only time I don't like music is, that's funny, Raven. Yeah, what's the current favorite simulator? Okay, so loaded question. If I want to fly, if I want to race, Velocidrone. Velocidrone, hands down, is the best one for racing simulation. That's the one that pretty much everybody uses for racing simulation. And if anybody's doing like a multi-GP style track or like an iGO track, they usually build up. They usually build it up in Velocidrone. If I want to fly acro, I really prefer. What's it called? Liftoff. I really like Liftoff. Liftoff's fun. I don't think it's a good FPV simulator. Like if you want to go out and get kind of the stick movements down for doing like a trippy spin or something like that, both of them work fine. But if you want to, I would say Liftoff and Velocidrone. If you're only going to buy one, I would say just get Velocidrone. It's not available on Steam. It's on its own like Batcave Games or IO or something like that. But Velocidrone's really good. Order some stuff from TBS. They usually send like a 10% off coupon anyways. So I prefer Velocidrone. If I had to pick one, Velocidrone. But with that said, like the DLRL simulator is kind of fun. But if I'm in the sim, it's not to have fun. It's to figure out the layout of a track, get that into memory, and then go out and fly it. I don't really like sims for personally, I don't think they translate very well because they all fly different. But if we're going to do a race, like with my chapter, we were setting them up in Velocidrone. You get the path of travel down, and then you just go fly it. But I don't like to sit in front of the computer and play play the Sims either. So that's me. I'm also fortunate I can just go out and fly. I have the property and the space to do it. So your mind might vary on that one. What ELRS transmitter do you recommend for an X-Lite? An X-Lite, either the Beta FPV transmitter or get a DIY one from, I don't know, some reputable sites like Fatboy FPV or perhaps, tweetfv.com, something like that. Say it with me. No. 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 All right, got it. No. Yeah. 3S X. I don't get it. That's weird. Who names anything Chimera? The same company that wanted to change their tagline to "Come and get it, big boy." Yeah, or something like that. The iFlight. I don't know. I think it would help a lot of these companies if they hired some people who were native to the local dialect that they're trying to sell to. Just one consultation for a consult, something like that. I don't know. My 4-inch long range has 6,000 kV motors, so I can run it on 2S lithium ion, 20 minutes flight, around 30 miles per hour cruising. That's pretty good. One of the things you got to consider about long range is what your winds are. If you're trying to fly in a 30 mile an hour wind and your quad tops out at like 32 miles an hour, guess what? That's 2 miles an hour coming back to you. But you should always fly out into the wind and fly back with the wind at your back. That way you use more energy getting out there than you do getting back. Also, along with that, I would mount your receiver antennas to the front of your quad, so when you're flying away, you have the weakest signal quality compared to when you turn around, because you want everything, you want the deck to be stacked against you on the way out. On the way back, you want it to be smooth sailing and the best possible scenario for you. Because most of the time people fly out till they're like half energy is gone out of the battery, and they realize that it doesn't really work that way, and they don't make it back. Half Chrome, welcome to the chat. How are you doing, my friend? I agree, 4-inch is the sweet spot. You know what was the best long-range experience I've had? And don't hate me for this, but it was the DJI FPV drone. It was low threat. It was literally plug it in, turn on, go up, and then just hold the pitch stick forward as hard as you can until it said either you're out of range, you're out of battery, or your video's gone, and it just came back. It was so low threat. I would like to see what kind of range you can really get on something like that if you got up in the mountains and just full send. But we know no one's going to do that. Let's see. Velocidrone got some new freestyle updates with new quads. Yeah, they have. Velocidrone's updates are excessively large. Like if you haven't updated in a while, don't plan on playing it. Like, or at least with my internet, every time I go to play it and it has an update, it's like, well, I'll just come back to this tomorrow because it's like 24 gig and my internet sucks. So anyways, I talked to my buddy Brent, who owns Ruby Moon Coffee, and he said, you know what, Tweet? I'm going to give you guys a discount code. So if you want to get some of the best coffee that this is the best coffee that I've drank. I love this stuff. You can go to Ruby Moon Coffee and put in the coupon code Tweet FPV and get $1.50 off each item that you order. And you can find that over at rubymooncoffee.com. It was very generous of him to do that. And go over there, get yourself some coffee, and get your day going. My current favorite is he was calling it the Supernova, but it's actually the Ethiopian blend. They renamed it, so the Ethiopian blend. This is my current favorite, but he's saying his highest and his best seller right now is this Guatemalan, and I've had that too, and it is fantastic. So if you want to get yourself some locally roasted coffee, go to rubymooncoffee.com. And by locally, it's here in Mobile, Alabama. Yeah, Brandon Baked Beans, they put out a poll trying to, like, they changed their logo, and then everyone was like, dude, what the f are you doing? Like, that is an awful tagline. And it took a lot of convincing. Like, I think even Steele got in on that one. It's like, dude, you can't call it that. Yeah, it was like their tagline for like 2 or 3 days until like they had like Instagram media uproaring about what are you doing? Yeah. Start off going uphill. Yeah, so Morton, I have no hills where I'm at. It's ocean and cotton fields where I'm at. Cotton and peanut fields. That's all I've got here. 6-inch sweet spot. Yeah, I haven't done 6. I've done 7 and then the 4s for long range. I always wonder, like, can I get a 13-inch to do long range? No, not really. Ricardo Ferreira says it's getting harder and harder to find places, especially in city center. Which tips can you give us? Quieter quads. Brandon Baked Beans can definitely speak to this one. Go with like Bi-Blade 4-inch quads, Bi-Blade 3-inch quads. He's got a Hexplorer that is very quiet. If you're looking for like a 5-inch performance, the Umagod 250 5-inch Bi-Blades, very, very quiet quad. It doesn't have that shrill, let's go rip balls type sound to it. It's very quiet. Basically anything you get down to Bi-Blades is going to help. But yeah, let's see. You are limited in how high you can go with DJI. With the DJI quad, you can actually disable that limit, but you are limited to range. There is a hard limit. I don't remember exactly what it is, but there is a hard limit where it just says, no, we're done. But yeah, Ricardo, I would recommend if you want like a 5-inch, go with build a 250. That's Tommy Umagod's frame. I have one. It's running 2004s. It's very low threat when you're listening to it, and I really prefer that with like a Bi-Blade. The Chimera is very quiet, but it's a pretty low KV motor, so you're not going to get like that super acro punch to it, and the frames are pretty thin and light, so if you crash, you're going to break it. But I think the 250 is a good compromise. FPV Cycle has a good option for a 5-inch frame. Where is it at? I think they do anyways. Maybe they don't. Maybe it's the flow ride? Is it the flow ride? Yeah, I think it's this guy here. Yeah, 12x12 motor, run like 2004s on this thing. This would be a good option if you're looking for 5-inch. If you're looking for kind of that, if you don't mind a toothpick, toothpicks are super low threat. They're very quiet and they are a ton of fun to fly. You don't have the weight and that like kinetic energy to like really huck them like you would a 5-inch, like a heavier quad. But once you kind of learn how the throttle response works and all that, they're actually very, very fun. Probably one of the funnest categories of quads to fly are toothpicks. What's your favorite grilled? Friendly Nomad asks, what's your favorite grilled baked chicken recipe? Well, all right. I don't eat meat. I haven't it's been going on 15 years now. So I don't have one. Mark 2K FPV says, I'm torn on if any of the LRS stuff is worth my time. I flew out over 2 miles over the mountains this weekend with the DJI FPV radio V1 at 7 milliseconds S-bus fast. Well, Mark 2K, if it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're looking for like a low latency link for racing or then ELRS is definitely a way to go. If you're looking for very long range and, you know, it depends on what you want to do. If 2 miles is what you want, I mean, a lot of this ELR stuff is kind of ignorance is bliss. If you don't know any better, then it doesn't matter. But once you taste low latency and a super long range, it's hard to go back. The way I look at it is, as long as my video fails before my controller link does, I don't care. It really doesn't matter. After that, it's all kind of gravy. I prefer the low latency, and I can really tell the difference. Not so much when you go to the low latency link, but when you go back, you really realize how bad the old setup was. So first and foremost, video has to go up before your RC link, because you know, who can really watch? I don't really care. I'm usually focused on what I'm doing. I'm not really paying attention to the RSSI and the LQ bars, and I'm not really listening for warnings on my radio. When my video starts to break up, that's a big cue. Oh boy, I need to do something different. It's easier it's easier when your entire picture gets bad than just watching a little indicator on your screen. That's first and foremost. After that, low link latency is my preference. That's why I fly ELRS on 2.4. And if I have an SPI board quad that I don't want to put an external receiver on, I'll run Red Pine if I can do it on that board, which is another low latency link. It's not as robust as ELRS, but it's a low latency link, but it's a lot shorter distance. So it'd be about the same distance, maybe a little bit more than running like D8, D16 on an SPI board, but it's lower latency, and they get that down by not sending 3-position switch packets. There's a little bit of trickery in there, but if you want to go super long distance, it sounds like you're flying DJI, which we all know has a hard limit on it. If your link ran out before your video, then I would say ELRS. Probably on 900 if you're flying in the mountains. You want that really reliable, super long range link. That's what I would say. And this stuff's cheap enough that if for some reason you don't like it, you just take it off and sell it. Drones World. Hey mate, do you think with battery protections for light? No, you do not want. Well, hang on a second. Let's reread this. Hey mate, do you think with battery protectors for lipos or lithium ions is good on drones? So if you're talking like electronic protection, like what comes in lithium ion cells, like the 18650s, no, absolutely you do not want those. You don't want it's not really a BMS, but it's like an overcurrent, over discharge protection. You do not want that involved. You want that stuff out of there. You want whatever is using the battery to deal with that stuff, either your radio or your quad. You want that to be the link in the system. As far as lipos go, I really haven't seen any with internal protection. If you're talking external protection, no, I don't worry about the extra weight of damaging, you know, like things to protect the lipo from getting damaged. You just don't damage it. I don't know. I'm also kind of a weight weenie, mostly because of racing. But when you're starting out, sometimes having a skid, if you're doing a bottom mount battery, having a skid will help you save a few lipos here and there. They tend to be a pain in the butt, and it's something that you'll outgrow very quickly. But if you're new and you're banging up lipos because you're crashing, it can't hurt, but it's something that you shouldn't keep doing for like the rest of your flying career or whatever. Uphill, figuratively speaking. Nice. Brandon Bakes Things, Explorer, super quiet, 5-inch feels, but he also has a complete load of tuning done to it. So yeah, and he long ranges it. One is toothpicks are nearly silent. Yes, they are, Patty O'Patterson. They're very nice. DJI limit 13.3. I was thinking 13.3, and I was like, is it miles or kilometers? But yeah, 13.3. Hard limit. You hit 13.3, it says, I'm out. Even if you have a perfect connection, I'm out. So keep that in mind with the long range DJI stuff. The newer UL 5-inch quads, Baby Croc, Chimera 5, etc., are very quiet on low pitch. Yeah, on low pitch props. Yep. The sounds from props, from your props, lower pitch props, bi-blades. Yeah. And Brandon Baked Beans has been looking at logs of the Umagod 250 frame. If you build it well, it's a very quiet frame, like from black box sense, like resonance wise. And he says it's super easy to tune. It's very light. Mine is right at that 250 gram, but I'm also running 6S on mine because I need that 6S punch. Yeah, it will be easier to tune than a hex. Yeah, it's 20% easier, right? Is that right? No, I don't know. I don't math. Have you seen the $70 Darwin FPV plug and play? Nick Burns reviews it today. Such a crazy good deal. No, I haven't. Darwin. Darwin FPV. Where's that at? Yeah. Darwin F. Oh, is this one of these things? The little Dave C clones? This looks way better. This looks like it's a SLS nylon. What is this thing made of? It's got to be a SLS nylon. High strength nylon. Yeah, so you can kind of tell because it is 3D printed, but they're using a process. Looking at it, I'm assuming they're using a process called selective layer sintering, and it's a nylon. It's probably like a PA6. Probably has a little bit of glass fiber in it. But this is really interesting. It's kind of like resin printing, but with powdered whatever material it is. So it'll basically from what I understand, it takes a laser, makes a layer hot, spreads this powderized material on it, then scrapes the layer top, scrapes the layer off, does it again, and it just keeps doing it. And it's incredibly high resolution printing, and it's very, very tough stuff. But that's not bad. What kind of electronics are they putting in this thing? 12,000 kV motors, 1 to 3S, except for it takes a single 18650. Okay. 15 amp. That's pretty good. For 400 milliwatt VTX CADX camera. That's a garbage camera. Yeah. Not bad. Pretty cool. It's certainly not an acro machine, that is for sure. It'll hold up to a crash, but you know, it's like you crash that, it's done. Those things get extremely hot as well. Let's see. Mr. Huggy says I have a 4-inch flow ride and it flies quite nice. It's a bit heavier than 250 though. Oh, that'll be our secret. 4-inch flow ride. Yeah, I like the flow ride frame. I thought he had a new one that he was developing that kind of was taking some of the Chris Rosser principles. Unless this is prototype 5. Yeah, I don't know. Anywho. Any suggestions on a PID tune for the 160 mile an hour JB ability a while back? Yeah, I can't help you there. T-minus 10 days for the Osmo Action 2. Curious, find out its price. I hope it's 300. Yeah, if it's 300 or less, it'll be a killer deal. Especially if Best Buy carries it, so we can abuse the ever-loving you-know-what out of the black tie protection program for us here in America. But, it's all going to come down to video quality. If it looks like, if it doesn't look good, then it's not going to work out. Also, durability is going to be another big factor. We know that these guys can take an absolute beating and continue working. But then again, this is like this is a 5-year-old camera, and this is still kind of the gold standard for FPV. It's got to tell you how good this thing was, and why is it so good? Is it because of the video quality, or the size, the weight, or is it the whole package? What do you guys think? Where do I adjust timing in BL Heli S? Let's see if I can show you that. Oh, just looking through my files here, see if I can show you how to adjust that. I don't think you can do it from the BL Heli configurator. I think you actually have to use the BL Heli suite to do it. All right, so from the BL Heli configurator, it'd help if I put that screen up. Timing is right here. If you guys can see that, but that's where you'd find it in BL Heli S. That's the configurator. If you're using BL Heli Suite with a BL Heli S ESC, you'll see it right there. The main menu says motor timing. Brandon Baked Bean says 9 times out of 10 with Desync on high power KV builds has to do with the ramp up power being way too high for the build, and it'll overloads the ESCs, and they get a Desync. Yep, that is my experience as well. Also with Desyncs, if you have bidirectional D-shot and you have the wrong amount of poles selected, you'll get Desyncs on high power moves. Kind of like what happened with this pile of junk. This is the Flywoo Baby Nano. The configuration from the factory is terrible. Pretty terrible. Darwin is the new kid on the block. It's the Darwin FPV Baby Ape. Is that right? There we go. Oh, interesting. What kind of camera mount is that? I don't like that. I do like the LED race wire type things. That's pretty cool. It's using a whoop style AIO, I believe. That's what it looks like. 76 grams. Damn. That's impressive. I don't like it's using a linear whip, but that's it's easy to change out. A few things that it looks like they probably could have done better, and I'm being, I'm just looking at the things that I see that I don't like. There's a lot here that I do like. These are gonna suck. These cap head screws sticking, or these button head screws sticking out, because they're just gonna dig into your battery unless you have a battery that fits in this profile. Doing countersunk screws would be better, but that's more cost in the machining for sure. What motors are these? These look like the motors that are on my DJI my Mavic Air. That's what these look like. Like, they look exactly like it. That's kind of funny. 200 milliwatt VTX. Oh my god. Okay, I take everything back. I didn't see the price. I take everything back. Yeah, I'm gonna buy one right now. For that price? Holy shit. Yeah. That is insane. How on earth? This thing has got to be either... Alright, I'm getting an error for some reason. Oh, my phone number. Continue shipping. Stand by one. Why do I have to fill an apartment? I don't live in an apartment. None. $10 for shipping. Brings it up to, a crippling $79.98. That is nuts. There it is. She's ordered. All right, for that price, yeah, gonna have to give it a try. Can't not give it a try. Let's see, where were we at? There we go. Can you tell me why my bell housing keeps popping off my Tomorrow 240? Your bell housing keeps popping off because your transmission's not attached anymore. Sometimes if you do too many neutral dumps, it'll actually break the bolts off your bell housing. Oh, you're talking on your quad. Are the circlips missing on the motors? Tooth Fairy 2. Okay. The bell has slipped off the shaft. Yeah, so Loctite makes an actual like thread locker for retaining things like that, and it's usually used for bearing race retaining, but this is the stuff I always use if I have to like adhere a chunk of metal to another chunk of metal. It's called retaining compound. You can put that on there and just slide it down until it's in the right spot. If it keeps popping off, another thing you could do And you gotta be really careful is you can actually use a centering punch and you can peen the shaft, or not the shaft, you can peen the bell over on the shaft. It may be very careful. You can really screw it up by doing this, but that's like your last ditch effort. It was Best Buy that screwed the session. No, it wasn't Best Buy. It was us, not Best Buy. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they lost their butt on the session because you got people. I mean, well, what's the difference between the session and the heroes now? The people are still returning them at the same rate. You know, if you were smashing the crap out of sessions, now you're smashing the crap out of hero 8 blacks and 10s and 9s and things like that. Bit then. How you doing today? Welcome. Why don't you show us that 10-inch rig hovering indoors? I showed you guys my X-Class hovering indoors once. Crazy cheap, that camera is trash. So I'm assuming pretty much everything attached to that is going to be trash. Has to be a loss leader. I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure I don't know what they're going to get out of it. Like, I haven't looked at any reviews, and I'm not going to. I want to see it with fresh eyes, but yeah. Team Up props just crashed, and 2 of them popped off. So, Tony, is the shaft staying on the motor and the bell's coming off the shaft? June Loco, how you doing today, my friend? Welcome. The bell housing bolts sheared off. Cuz Camaro. Praise Hail, praise Dale. What a rip. I have a question. I have one motor that stops spinning halfway the throttle curve, then spins up fine with the others, stops halfway. Is this ESC fried? You have one motor that stops spinning halfway through the throttle curve, spins up fine with the others, just stops halfway. Probably. What you can do is swap a motor, swap another good motor with that. Swap the 2 motors, your bad one and your suspect bad one, and your good one. Swap them and see if that motor does it on the same ESC pad. If it does, then it's ESC. If the other motor does it, if the motor does it when it's on a different ESC pad, then it's the motor. It's really easy troubleshooting. Windshield mirror glue or bell and magnets. Yeah, that's some good stuff too. Motor is not the problem. Okay, then it's the ESC. The problem is the volume on the session was likely too low. Yeah, I don't see a lot of people wanting to buy a camera like this, an action camera with no screen on it. Us FPV people, we love this thing, but we are a very, 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 very small subset of GoPro's market. I know you think that there's a lot of us. There are not. There are not a lot of us. And there's less and less by the day. There probably was not the demand for this camera that they thought they did, especially since they only did, 2 runs of them. They did the Hero Session, and then the Hero Session 5, and then they stopped it. So, in DJI's eyes, or in GoPro's eyes, they probably saw this as like a failed product. And then with the super high return rates from like Best Buy, because we're just bashing the living out of them, they probably thought that this is a garbage product. This is all guessing too, my speculation. They've replaced 8 of mine so far. Gotta love the warranty. Yeah, I think I've replaced 3. Not only like a lot of motocrossers and BMX, things like that, like action sports where you just want to set it and forget it, have something light. They bought this too, but the image quality compared to this and like a Hero 8, the Hero 8's far better, but it's all give and take. Like, do you mind not having a screen, still having super view, a little bit lower bit rate? Or do you want a screen? I don't know. Oh, let's see. Sleeve retaining compound for the bell to the shaft. Yeah, I put a link to that over there. Just before that. Bell is coming off. Let her rip, tear her chip. Yep. Yeah, the bell is coming off. I would try some of this retaining compound. If that doesn't work, then what you can do, and you be very careful with what size motors, by the way, Tony. You can very carefully, and I mean very carefully, if you have a an auto centering punch, and if you don't have one, I'll put a link to it. You can take the punch and you put it right here on the bell, right where the bell meets the shaft, and you just give it one quick little pain. And what it'll do is it'll actually push the material from the bell into the shaft, and it'll actually like mate the two together. That's kind of a last ditch effort, but that retaining compound should work for you. And here's a link for a auto centering punch. I use these for a lot of things. It's not, I mean, this wouldn't be the only thing you could use it for. Anytime you're drilling a hole in metal, you do a little dimple in the metal with this, keeps the drill bit from walking. It's a very useful tool. Anybody have a discount code handy for Darwin FPV? Oh boy, I wish I would have found something like that. Oh yeah. Let's see, Nate. Next time, can you text me for a link for a bigger drone that works with my goggles and radio? Yeah. I'll get a hold of you. I'll give you some options there. So you're saying it's an ESC, but if it's an ESC fails, doesn't it fail completely? Not necessarily. I mean, if it's not the motor, then what else is it? Yeah, I think you're in the denial stage of replacing an ESC. If you swap the motors and it doesn't... if you swap the motors and the problem stays on that same motor, then it's the ESC. Yep, that's where you're at. And NFN World Peace. Yeah, you're in the denial stage. You've probably you're about to go into the acceptance stage. I'm telling you, man, just save yourself some time and just embrace the suck and just get a new one. Yeah, most likely it's probably what Morton Upshot's saying. It's probably a crack in the solder and the FET. Probably gets hot, or it's the FET failing once it does get hot and has a lot of current. It is weird that it does it halfway in the throttle curve, but that's because ESCs do weird stuff when they fail. I forgot to mention, I got a few new patrons this month. Brian Huff, Barry Cook, and Curtis Stacy. Thank you for joining the Cool Kids Club up there on the top and being a supporter of the channel. And remember, if you want to get yourself some coffee, head over to Ruby Moon Coffee and use my discount code TweetFPV for $1.50 off each item. Go to rubymooncoffee.com. Support my buddy. He makes great coffee. And I really want to get more because I'm out. Yeah, it is time to move on. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have my box of dead parts. I don't know why I keep them. Actually, I keep them because I will desolder a FET and solder a new one on, or desolder MCU, or a gyro and solder them onto another. Like, I use them as donor parts, but you really got to know what you're doing to be able to make that happen. And most likely, if you're asking questions on how to make that happen, you probably don't have the wherewithal to do it. Not saying you don't. I'm just saying, process of elimination. Plus, sometimes I meet people locally that are just terrible at soldering, and I'm like, here's a bunch of stuff. Go practice. Have at it. I'll desolder all the components off of it, and with a hot air station, let you solder away at it and see how it goes. And if you guys haven't heard, Race Day Quads is doing pre-orders for the Caddx Vista Nano thing. What are these things? That's not what I wanted. What am I doing here? They're pre-ordering the Caddx Nebula Pro Vista kits. They are inbound. And the first shipment is expected to be the week of the 18th. So the fabled unicorn of the Caddx ecosystem is coming back. Does this mean the end of the chip shortage? Yeah, absolutely not. I think me and Triple B there, we've been talking about it a little bit over on Discord, and it seems like supply might be getting a little bit better, but the prices are still going to stay high for a while. But if you need to get a hold of one, this is the 120 FPS camera. This is the the normal mounting size, the 19 by 19 camera, not the big boy DJI one. I've flown both. I don't see a difference in the video quality. I prefer the lightweight and the normal frame mounting of this camera compared to the DJI one. But they're coming. Get yourself some before they sell them out. They're still taking pre-orders. Click that link and it'll give me a cut. I have an affiliated account with Race Day Quads. Anything you buy off that link will help me out a lot. Let's see. Focus FPV on yourself. Just went through the same situation. Changed to iFlight ESC. Just get new. Unless you can solder FETs. Yep. And if you can do it, then that's a cheap way to do it. Yeah, you need the equipment to be able to do SM. Well, I mean, I've done it with a soldering iron. It's definitely tough, but it can be done with a soldering iron. But if you can do it with a soldering iron, you already know you can do it, and you probably wouldn't be asking. RC Quads for the win. As long as you keep the same polarization, can you use analog antennas and SMD adapter cables, etc. stuff with DJI specific radio? As long as you keep the same polarization, can you use analog antennas? Yes, keep the same polarization. DJI is traditionally left-hand circular polarized, so you can, you can put right hand on your quad as long as you're putting right hand on your goggles. The stuff that comes with DJI is all left hand, so most of the antennas that are coming with the Vistas are actually really good antennas. So those are gonna be left. Just get new left-hand antennas for your goggles. Your opinion on FetTech? I have no opinion on FetTech. FetTech is KISS, and all I know about KISS is how do you know how it's working, or how do you know if KISS is working? Is it on fire? No? Okay, it's working. I've never flown KISS or FetTech or anything like that. My opinion, leading up to kind of the finally making some innovation with FetTech, is it's stuff that was technologically way behind the curve. Like, yeah, it's super fragile, no OSD. Like a lot of the I'm spoiled by the stuff I have in Betaflight. I don't want to know any better. I've tried Falco X with the Flight 1 Lightning H7 flight controller. Flew fine, but you have to turn on all the Cerebro AI BS tuning stuff, and then it flies like a Betaflight quad. It's like Betaflight with more steps. But everybody who flies FetTech swears by it. A lot of those people are also sponsored by not FetTech, but KISS. So take that for what it's worth. Unless you're looking for a challenge in learning how to tune a different quad or a different type of firmware, then go for it. I know they fly great. Bardwell did a video where he's flying Steel's build, and he said there's something different about it, and it flies really well. But it's the whole package. You could have a FetTech ESC flight controller, whatever, and put some gargantuan, overly overweight and overpowered iFlight motors on it, and then you've just negated everything. It's about the whole package. It's frame, motors, and then electronics. That stuff works well on ultralight motors. Ultralight motors, like the steel motors, are ultra fragile. So it's all a give and take. I would say if you find that you don't crash your quads and you're really pushing it and you don't really crash, then give it a try. Morton Upshot, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Have a cold one on me or a few cups of coffee. I've stopped drinking beer, mostly just this month. My employer makes me makes everybody weigh in every 6 months, so I gotta shave a few inches off. So beer has to go. Vodka's my drink of choice right now. Mostly Moscow Mules because they're very good. Fets are actually flowing and falling off mid-flight. Oh my god, that is awful and hilarious all at the same time. Don't get right-hand circular polarized. Get 8 left-hand circular polarized and switch all the time correctly. I don't understand anything you just said there. You can get all right-hand if you want. You can get all left-hand if you want. They just all have to match. Betaflight EMU is perfect. I've flown EMU flight once. I did not like it, but this is maybe a year and a half ago, and I've been meaning to give EMU flight a try again. I just haven't gotten around to it. My Novice 2 is 2S rated board, but can the 1103 8500 kV motors run on 3S? All right, so here's the thing with motors. Motors can run on all voltages. There are ideal voltage ranges for certain KVs. Higher KV, lower voltage. Lower KV, higher voltage. You can run 6S on a 4500 kV motor. It's just going to get hot. So you need to pay attention to what you're doing. You can absolutely run high voltage on high kV motors. The thing that you do to try to level the playing field is use motor scaling in Betaflight. You could put like a 70% motor scale, and that will effectively drop the kV down to where it should be for a 2S rated motor. But all motors can run all voltages. They're just going to get hot. They may get hot instantly. They may fly fine. I run typically on my race rigs and my acro rigs. I like a hotter 6S motor. So I'm running like 1900 kV, 1950. I prefer to have that higher kV on 6S. So NFN, hopefully that kind of answers your question. It took me a long time to figure that out when I first got into the hobby. It's like, why are there 6S and 4S and 3S rated motors, but the dimensions are the same? It's just the KV changes. Can they run? And then kind of figure it out over time that, yeah, they'll run on everything. It's all about heat. Get 3 lefts, that's right. Motor scale is like a throttle limiter, yes, but it doesn't limit your throttle. It basically changes. So instead of your full throttle point being 100%, it's 90, but you still get the full resolution of the stick. Throttle limit will clip your throttle, basically. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Oh boy, have I been on the screen the whole time? Sorry about that, guys. Oh. Go away. There we go. So this is Betaflight Configurator 10.8, so it's going to look a little bit different. I like this because it does have like a virtual quad, so I can show you stuff without actually having to hook up a quad. In PID tuning and rate profile, you have options here. You have scale and clip. If you do clip and you do 90%, what's going to happen is at 90% of your throttle travel, from 90 to 100, absolutely nothing is going to change on the quad side. This is just dead space here. Scale will now take it so you have full range of the stick, but at 100% throttle on the stick is 90% throttle on the quad. If that makes any sense. They both have their use cases. In that case, where you're trying to use high kV motors on high voltage, I would recommend a throttle scale. Robbie Store, welcome. How are you doing today, my friend? Hopefully you're getting that Bear to FPV quad running. I think I do have a stock CLI dump from that quad. I do. So after this, hit me up over on Discord and I can send that over to you. Maybe that might help you out. Where am I at in the chat here? Oh, here we go. I was gifted a Novice 2 kit that now needs a new FC. So we're looking at looking into upgrading individual parts since I'm a tinkerer. Yeah, the Novice 2, unfortunately, the flight controller in that uses a protocol called Bayang, and the radio that came with it, that Beta Light radio, is not going to work with any other flight controller. So that kind of sucks. It won't work with FrSky. It's only going to work with Bayang, and it was very particular to that Novice 2 kit. So if you're changing out that flight controller, you're probably going to need to change out your radio as well. Sorry to break the news to you. Morton Upshot, new question. I saw where to set the number of magnets on a build, but I can't figure it out now. Has it been suppressed, or am I bad at searching? You're bad at searching. So it's going to be in, depending on which configurator you're using. You also have to have Betaflight 4.2 on your board. For older configurators, it's going to be in the configuration tab, and the newer configurator, it's in the motors tab. And you've got to be on a digital protocol, so D-Shot. And here's where you set your motor pole magnets, and you also have to have bidirectional D-Shot firmware on your ESC. If you don't have bidirectional D-Shot active, you're not going to see this. And on the older configurators, this whole menu here, this is in the configuration tab. Brandon Makings, I'm the weird guy that likes to throttle clip my limit, not to mess with my throttle positions. So yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Situations where you want to use a throttle clip versus a scale. So let's say you're flying a Cinewhoop. You're really in tune with it. You know where the throttle point, where the hover point is. You know where everything is. But you're in a situation where you want to have a little less power. You find like if you got to like hop over a railing and go down a stairwell or something like that, quad's got a little too much power. Do a clip. It will leave your hover point, your mid throttle point. It'll leave it all alone. You just won't have that top end power. So I feel like clip is good for sporadic situations where you want to change the maximum output, but you want everything else to stay the same. Scale is if you want it to be that way in perpetuity. You don't want to ever have more throttle at the top. You just want it to always be the same. Another cool thing you can do with throttle scale is you can put it on a potentiometer on your radio. So you can tie, this is a little bit of advanced Betaflight stuff, or advanced Betaflight and OpenTX stuff, is you can actually take that motor scale and you can tie it to a potentiometer on your radio. So you could have 100% is 100% throttle scale, and then you can actually, like, you know, in the middle is 50, and then it's just anywhere in between there. I've seen a lot of racers do that because there's some tracks where you just don't want to have max power. My nose itches real bad. I'm gonna go blow it right now. Period. Right back. That's better. Weather changed like overnight. Like, we're talking like normally 80 degrees out. It's like 50. Like, overnight. It got real cold. It's kind of nice. Yeah, the dumps from Beta FPV really suck because, like, they have like the Beta 85XV2, but they put like 4 different boards in it. So which one do you use? Yeah. I have the one with Fly Sky and the FSI6 remote. Oh, really? Oh, is this the Ishin Novice or is this the... Sorry, I was thinking that you had the Betaflight Novice kit. Yeah, never mind. You're fine. Forget what I said. It starts. Sun is finally out, and I am fly high. All right, it starts. We'll see you around, buddy. See you next time. Yeah, the 10.8 configurator is pretty nice. Another couple nice features of the 10.8 configurator. Just kind of a preview for you guys. So motors tab. Look at this. We have... let's see if I can show you this. Well, anyways, I can't show it to you with this little virtual quad, but you have motor direction assigning and motor mapping in the GUI. So no more going into the CLI and banging in which motor output's doing what, and no more going into BL Heli to reverse your motor directions. It's all done through the GUI, through Betaflight configurator. But to be able to do that, you have to have 4.3 on your quad as well. So that's it's gonna be good once Betaflight 4.3 finally comes out. I'm hoping it comes out sometime soon. I don't think it will, but when you do, when it does, it's some good stuff now. Ricardo Ferreira in a bad crash with motor limit, for example, 80, will have power spikes 20% lower than, and probably saving the electronics. It's possible, but something you need to also remember is higher KV motors, the motor effectively has lower resistance. So there is a greater chance of frying electronics when you have those power spikes than when you are actually using a properly paired motor. So remember, we're using a software fix to correct a hardware issue, which is never really a good thing. But instead of going out and buying new motors, you can do this and get by. You fry the motors, buy the right motors. Hope that makes sense. Okay, NFN Ishin Novice 2. Never mind, forget I said it. I was thinking the Beta Flight or the Beta FPV Novice 2 uses Bayang on the Novice or the Novice quad. I don't know. Yeah, the Novice one. Check batteries don't go dead on Betaflight. Check batteries don't go dead on Betaflight. I have no idea what you're talking about. June Loco Wizard. Yep, it's got a wizard. What state are you in? I am in Alabama. Way down south. Armpit of country. Brian and I snowed here in Montana this week. It's going to be in the 70s today. Dial up, how you doing this morning? June Loco. Gregory Dell, Tyro 119 was motor mapped wrong, but okay now. I forget what they made me do. Yeah, they made you... So it may not have been motor mapped wrong. You may have put the flight controller in a different direction. There's two different ways you can get around that. If you're not using AIO, you can move around the individual wires between ESC and the flight controller to make a hardware fix, or you can do motor reassignment in the CLI. But now with Betaflight 4.3 and the new configurator, it's all done graphically. You just click the motor that's spinning, and it goes, okay, that's where they're supposed to be. And then it says, this is motor spinning this direction or this direction. You say, no, I'm spinning this one. It goes, all right, I'll fix it for you. Which, you know, other companies have been doing forever. Like, I think KISS and I know Falco X have been doing that stuff for a long time. Betaflight's just way behind the ball here. Yeah, New Jersey sucks. Yeah, I want to avoid New Jersey. New Jersey, in my entire career, like the plague. I have no desire to go there. Hey, TFE, I see your most active fan behind you. Oh, yeah. That's Sweetie. Where's Mary? Hey, Mary. Dogs are acting a little weird today. The weather, like I said, cooled off very quickly, so they're acting a little funny today. Oh, right. Florida weather's similar. Yeah, a nice cold front came through. It's finally, you know, like it's just been so hot. I had the PDBS. I had the ESC upside down. I mean, yeah, that'll make sense why you had to reassign everything. So we were talking about, why does this always pop back in here? Why YouTube chat? So we're talking about Express LRS earlier in the stream, and if you're one of my patrons up here, I am doing a giveaway for an Immersion RC Ghost transmitter and the Ghost Hybrid VTX receiver board, but you got to be a patron. So if you want to get in on that, go to tweefp.com. The $5 and up, they get the link as soon as I make it live, and then anybody under $5, the link will go live the day I do the live stream. And I will be doing the live stream giveaway of that on the 24th. I'll be out of town on the 31st, so no live stream on the 31st. So we'll do the giveaway on the 24th. I'm getting in the 20s over here at night. 20s, that's metric, right? That's 20 degrees science. So I have no idea what that equals. I'm just dirty American. I know it's cold, right? No? Yes, cold. -8. Ugh, gross. I used to live in northern Michigan, and we had 1 month in February where the average temperature was -30. Average in February. That's also freedom units. So something I was working on this week. It's last week after I did this live stream, went out, did some work, cut the grass, and I went out and I did some racing, just some gates in my backyard. Did a live stream of that over analog. The camera I was using was blown out, but that was just using a analog adapter to HDMI, piping it into my laptop with one of these Elgato Camlink cards. And that was a lot of fun. Nice taking you guys along. So I was like, I want to do that with DJI, and I have made this. This is basically a Cosmos streamer. If you haven't seen this, it's basically a Raspberry Pi not basically, it is a Raspberry Pi 4, and I just put a little touchscreen LCD on there. You don't need it. You can do it if you want. And this will output DJI over HDMI to anything that accepts HDMI, and it'll also display it on the screen if you want to use. The screen's really crappy. It's really low refresh rate, but it's something. So instead of having, and you know, with the FPV, as an FPV View project, you can plug your DJI goggles into your phone, your computer, whatever, run the program. I wanted to offload all of that to something else. That way it won't mess with my laptop or the streaming or anything like that. So it is all in this little box here. And really all you need to do is buy a Raspberry Pi and SD card. Everything else is easy and free. So I'll be doing a video on how to set that up. But if I wanted to live stream my DJI stuff, DJI in, HDMI out into the laptop, and then just treat it as any other OBS capture device. Could I get a Raspberry Pi board and use it to set up BL Heli and Betaflight? I don't know. Possibly? I think Betaflight does have targets for Linux. Yeah, Betaflight does have a Linux target. What about BL Heli? Yeah, it does look like BL Heli 32 does have a Linux configurator, and the regular BL Heli. Let's see. I don't know about the regular BL Heli, but I would assume you probably can. That's something to look into. The downside with this box is this thing is basically Cosmo Streamer, and that's it. I haven't really figured out how to like use it as a normal Linux device. Like, so it's very much Cosmo Viewer, and that's it. I'm not super good with Linux and all that stuff. I've used it plenty of times before for like the Delta 5 race timer, this thing, Octoprint for the printer, stuff like that. I just haven't really messed with, you know, the real internal workings of it, but you know, it is what it is. A cool thing about this is it will broadcast an SSID, and you can connect to it and view the live stream on a phone, just by going to the internal website for it. It is really cool. Yeah, it's a really interesting concept. It's really, really cool. So this kind of lent, like, I don't know if anybody remembers the whole thing with the original person that said he was able to do this. It seems like, I don't know, maybe he was able to do it, and DJI just basically had him snuffed out. I don't know, just thoughts. Let's see, DJI needs a cheap receiver with AV out. One of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to find like a scrapped set of DJI goggles. Like, let's say the OLEDs are trashed on it. You could take the guts, marry it with this thing, and you could have basically a portable DJI receiver. What's really cool about this is I can connect this to my Orcas, and the latency is almost non. I almost cannot see any added latency. The HDMI out on this is very fast. It doesn't use like the spectator mode. This is actually like true direct out from the goggles. It's very fast. Was he found out to be a fraud, or is it suspected that he was a fraud? I don't know if anybody proved that. I think he just took a bunch of money and ran. But supposedly he was being sued by DJI at one point, so usually when that happens, you have to basically disappear. Let's see. Can you explain what causes motor desyncs? Usually high RPM and noise. And then the ESC basically. Let me grab something real quick. Well, I thought this was going to be a better thing to show as an example, but I don't think it will be. So what happens is the ESC misses the 0 point. How many of your motors are held on by a 2.5 mil? These things are so hard to pull apart. Yeah, come on. I'm gonna lose a finger. Ah, fuck. Sorry. Come on. Oh, jeez. These things are so hard to pull apart. By the way, these are 4214s, so day big. So what happens is the ESC, what it's doing is it's firing like these two, then these two, then these two. Like, so it's firing 2 coils at a time to get the motor to accelerate past the next set of coils. This is really rudimentary, and I'm not super good at explaining this. So it's firing these two, then these two, then these. Well, I think it's actually like these two. Fires them in like a Y pattern, something like that. I don't know exactly which ones it fires, but it fires 2 sets of coils. It creates a magnetic force, which pulls against the magnets, which gets it to notch over. Then the next set fires, and it gets it to notch over. And then the next set fires, and it gets it to notch over to the next spot. What happens is this gets going so fast that the ESC can't switch fast enough, and it misses that point where the motor pull crosses the 0 point. That's the point, like when you're, you know, how you turn the motors and you feel like it has that little bit where it just pulls itself to the next pole. It misses that point, and it fires the wrong set of coils based on where the motor is. And that essentially is one of the larger reasons why you get desync. Well, I mean, that's what a desync is. As far as like why you're getting a desync: excessive speed, excessive power, slow switching, things like that. There's a lot of reasons why. I don't know if that answers or helps answer your questions. I'll lose a finger. Jeez. These things are dangerous. A day at the range, that guy, yeah. Mahale, how are you doing today? There you go. Yeah. Brandon Baked Beans, as always, has a better way of explaining things. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of just bad, a lot of noise in the system will do it. It says sometimes the ESC will actually reboot. That's probably because of the ramp up's too high and the back EMF wasn't there. Yeah. So the power didn't have anywhere to go, and it's got to come back into the ESC, and it basically just makes the ESC reset. It's kind of a self-protect thing. Desyncs usually, I remember a couple years ago, desyncs were pretty common, happened all the time, and desyncs kind of went away, but now that people are pushing motor technology again, like Bob Ruge, we're starting to see people having issues with desyncs again. Notice on my NLR, I get more desyncs with cold motors. I'm assuming resistance slightly changes as motors heat up. Yes, it does change. High quality motors spend a lot, or like high dollar motors, if they're actually getting better because of the high dollar, they're usually spending more on the laminated wire for the windings. The other, usually would see it more with hot motors because the resistance would go up in the windings as they get hot. Sometimes it's because that laminated coating on the wire is already compromised, and as it gets warm, the wires start to expand and touch each other, and that'll cause desyncs and shorts and all sorts of just havoc. Lowering the startup power helped massively. Good to know. Does ripple current affect ESCs? Absolutely it does. If you've ever seen any ESC testing with or without a capacitor, you can see the voltage spikes and ripple in the ESCs. Having a capacitor helps tamp down that ripple, which will help with tuning, less motor noise, and less chance of ESCs having issues because of that ripple. Now, there's also a lot of testing out there where you see the difference between having a capacitor right on the XT60 versus directly on the pad of the ESC, like if you're doing a 4-in-1. The capacitor on the XT60 does help, but it's almost negligible on some really noisy builds. You want to try as best you can to get that capacitor on the ESC pad as opposed to the XT60. Obviously, if that's the only place you can put it, it's better than nothing, but it's almost as good as nothing. Back in the day when everybody ran individual ESCs, the capacitors were directly on the ESC. If you look at like APD doing like 12S 100 amp ESCs for X class, they're running two big old monster capacitors on those boards because the motors need a ton of power. There's a lot of voltage ripple, and it causes a lot of noise. So, yeah. Yeah, FETs like constant power, but you know, it's like taking water out of a garden hose that somebody's jumping up and down on. You're not going to get a constant supply of power because we're taking so much, and it's varying. Like, I know we're holding throttle at 50%, but those motors aren't running at 50% all the time. They are all over the place. So you're getting huge voltage dips, highs and lows all the time, and that capacitor is really going to help out kind of reduce that ripple to make it a smoother, consistent input voltage. It doesn't make it perfect, but it certainly helps. Plus, you also have to run low ESR capacitors. If you run a non-low ESR capacitor, you might as well not even bother. So how many of you out there flying DJI are interested in something like this? The ability to do ride-alongs with other people. So with something like this, I can feed DJI into my Orcas, and you can see DJI in beautiful, beautiful OLED goodness. And you can feed this into anybody's goggles that take an HDMI or just even a TV screen. This is going to be, I think this is going to be great for ride-alongs, especially for those folks that are DJI only, and you want to say, hey, mate, you want to ride along? That's something that's missing out of DJI, is that the whole community effect. Like, anybody on analog just fires their goggles up and tunes in the channel. You can see what's going on. DJI, you have to have all the DJI you have to have, well, you have to have a set of goggles to be able to do that. This kind of takes that barrier away. And I don't know how much a Raspberry Pi costs anymore. Because I just had that one sitting around. Let's see. RAS. Cannot type today. Let's see. A Pi 4 is going for $100. That seems excessive. Okay, so the price has gone up significantly since I bought one last. Yeah. How much is a 3? Pi 3. Pi 3 is going for $50. No, it's a Pi 3A, 3B. $70. And I think you can do this on a Pi 3. I don't think you need a Pi 4. But the Pi 4 is just going to be all that much better. Pi 3 doesn't have the USB 3.0 ports on it, which I think you really kind of want. I think doggos want to go outside. One second. Yeah, want to go outside. Yeah. Rob Logan Jr. So the pre-made XT30 with the cap on it and the plug from RDQ I've had is pointless and doing nothing. Well, it's doing something if you don't have the ability to put a cap anywhere else. Typically, things that are running XT30s are going to be like toothpicks where you don't have a ton of space. So it does something, but I would mount the cap to the AIO or the ESC if at all possible. Mike Bergman says he's interested in building one. Gregory Dallas says he might. Pi should be $35 for a low gigabyte one. The whole chip shortage thing, yeah. So I've got a bunch of Pis sitting around just from... Oh, dang it, next dog wants to go out. Yeah, so I got a bunch of Pis sitting around from doing Octoprint and some other just random stuff. My Prusa here, that is running... Prusa there in the corner, that's running a Pi for Octoprint. But something that really was really cool with the main board on the Prusa is it has space for Raspberry Pi Zero to be just stuck right onto it. The Pi Zero is extremely low performance, very low power. It works fine for this. A lot of people say don't use it. I haven't had any issues running it. But the Pi 3s are certainly a better choice for doing like Octoprint. I'm going to try doing this with a Pi 3 to see if it works or not. I believe it will. Let me look. So it's using Cosmo Streamer. Their website kind of sucks. You can do it on a 3B. Yes, you absolutely can. So I would probably say go with a 3B just because it has a full-size HDMI on it and not the micro HDMI. So here's a 3B. It uses full-size HDMI, but it doesn't use USB-C for power. It uses the old micro USB. The Pi 4 uses USB-C power and has two HDMI outputs, but they're the micro HDMI. Fortunately, I do have a bunch of micro HDMI cords, so it worked out for me because all my Sony cameras all use micro HDMI. But you can do both. That's good to know. But I don't think that the cases aren't compatible between the 3s and the 4s, so keep that in mind when you're looking for parts. If you want to go with one without a screen, this Flirk case, this is probably the best case on the market. It's passive cooled. It's a big hunk of aluminum. This works really well. I don't know if I would recommend going with having a screen on it. It's kind of a cool little thing to add on there, but it certainly adds a lot of weight and complexity to it. But I'll do a video on it, and I'll show you guys all that stuff. But yeah, I agree. Pis are far too expensive right now for what they are. Oh, hang on a second. I was looking at Amazon for Pi 4 kits. So here over at CanaKit, and I think this is like the Pi Foundation's like official store. The Pi 2 gig board is $35. And I don't think you need anything more than I think that would be just fine. Going with a 2 gig. I'd probably go with yeah, just the board only, 35 bucks. 4 gig is 55 and the 8 gig is 75. So CanaKit's definitely the cheaper way to go for Pi 4. Amazon was far more expensive. Hey, thanks. Hey, what have I missed? Nothing. We're just doing nothing here. You've missed a lot. A lot of ELRS talk, a lot of motor desync talk, trying to help people cope with the loss of a flight controller or loss of an AIO. You know, the typical stuff. We're talking about the Cosmos Streamer box that I just built so I can output DJI digital to HDMI and on a web server. Complete with a little keyboard if at all possible. I like to see somebody build a Pi for the purpose of setting up a quad. With a little keyboard if all possible. Do you need a good power supply? You do need a good power supply, but the kits are full of crap, so no one needs them. The power supply that comes with the CanaKit, or the USB-C power supply from CanaKit is actually pretty good, but USB 3.0 or USB Quick Charge 3.0 power supplies are becoming way more ubiquitous now, so I wouldn't bother. And this will run in low power mode just fine. Then we try the full speed RC3 yet. It's $109 on sale. Let's take a look at the full speed RC 103. Where is... Is this it? Nope, that's the leader. There we go. RC3. This looks like a Dave C clone. It's running 1S. So one of the issues with a frame like this is the bottom unibody. Yeah, the bottom's unibody. So the issue with doing a unibody frame like this of this size is these arms are going to be cut wrong. At least 2 of them are going to be cut wrong, if not all 4, depending on how they orient it on the carbon fiber, because carbon fiber strands are 90 degrees off from each other. These motors, these arms aren't exactly 90 off. It looks like they're a little bit... Well, maybe they are. Hang on a second. Why when I click on this picture, you don't show me this picture? F you, Banggood. Oh no, this isn't Banggood, this is Pyro. Alright. So, You know what? No, these arms are 90 degrees off, so these will probably be cut right. They look like they're cut right, at least in this picture. So that's good. Look at some of the specs here. Awesome specs. Completely useless. 6 amp stack, BLHES, RCM power 1202, EOS 2, decent camera. I don't know anything about the flight controller, but if you just go off specs, this isn't too bad. RCM power makes good motors. HRC Nano 400 VTX 400 milliwatts, so that's not bad either. This is probably not a bad setup. What is the weight though? 50 grams without battery. It's a little on the heavy side. I think putting this this little mount up here to put an action camera, I think is a little wishful thinking on something like this. It's going to be a bit on the heavy side to start with. So this looks like it's using a 16 by 16 stack. It doesn't look like it's got an AIO in it. So, yeah, definitely not an AIO. So, in theory, it should be a little bit more reliable just because it is like a fuller size ESC, but I think an AIO would have been a better choice, especially running 1S. It'll be interesting to see what they do about power management. So the one of the issues you run into with these types of quads is the fact that the camera and the VTX have to run off 5 volts, and 1S battery provides how many volts, folks? 4.35 at the absolute most. So they have to find a way to boost the power out of the 1S LiPo. And most cheaper voltage DC to DC converters typically cut out at about 3.5 volts. So like if you're trying to run this on like lithium ion, which I think would be what most people will end up trying to do, is run on lithium ion. The flight controller will probably still keep working way down to like 2.3, 2.4 volts, but you're gonna lose your receiver and your VTX. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how they go about doing that. So if I had to choose between this and the other one we looked at earlier in the stream, I would say, I mean, for the money, probably the whatever the heck quad that was that I bought. I didn't think twice about. Hang on, it's in my thing here. The Darwin FPV Baby Ape 3. I would probably say the Baby Ape 3. The camera's definitely better on this. That's for darn sure. The motor's gonna be better on this, but it's also almost twice the price. I don't know. It's hard to say. It is hard to say which one would be a better buy. But this one's also at Pyro, so you would certainly get it faster, I think. It is a shrunken down Recon 5. That is exactly what it is. It is a shrunk down Recon 5. That's why I thought it was a Dave C design, but then I saw this picture a little bit different. Balance, and they don't let batteries slide around. What are we talking about? I don't know. The little boss is making me take her shopping. Good show. Thanks, Morton. Thanks for coming by. We'll see you around next time. Jude Loco, what happened? Did something happen? I don't know. You tell me. What happened? So now that I have to go, feel free to have a giveaway. No, I'm not doing one today. And I will watch my subscriber count or my viewer count just drop off because I don't know. Are you guys just here for the giveaways? I feel like some of you guys are. Nah, maybe not. But yeah, that's not a bad looking quad. I would probably. Oh man, I don't know. Why can I not find that again? All right, well, I can't find it anymore. Will it make a difference to put capacitors? Will it make a difference to put the capacitors away from ESC pads? Will it make a difference to put the capacitors away from ESC pads? Well, the closer. So if we're talking like an AIO, you want it on like the main discharge lead pad on the flight controller, like right there, if you can, like right on there. If you're using individual ESCs, you put them right on the power input pads to the ESC. You don't put them on the output side of the ESC. That'd be horrible. Mike Bergman, Dageth about giveaways. I know you don't. Thank you so much. Speed turtle off to the grocery store. Don't care about the giveaway. All right. I'm here because I'm building and you're streaming. Thanks, Mike. I'll hit you up this week for an ELRS module tweet. All right, man. Yeah, hit me up and I'll get one out to you. I'm here to listen, even if it's background noise. Nerdy lo-fi. Thanks. Thanks, Athex. Cable length. Oh, I see what you're saying. Doing like a remote ESC. It's kind of in between the two. It's not as good as being directly on the ESC, and it's better than putting it on the end of the XT30. It seems like it would be the exact same as the XT30, but it's slightly better from the few graphs I've seen. William Barrow, been looking at the Flywoo 1S. Are you talking about this guy? This little thing? I've had a lot of issues with this. I'm still working through a bunch of those issues. I haven't been putting a ton of time into it, but I've been working through some of the issues on this. On paper, it's a really good quad, but in practice, Flywoo really kind of screwed up the setup of this thing. The parts and pieces are fine, but there's a lot of stuff that I don't like about it. I'm just always here. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Always watch the tweet stream when I can. Thank you, Speedy. Appreciate it. I'm here because of FPV addictions. I'm here because of FPV addictions, and you guys aren't making it any better. I love these live streams. I love doing this stuff. I lost about 10 people freaking opportunists wanting free shit. Yeah, basically, there was about a 10-person drop-off. Barry Cook, I'm listening to quad stuff. What can I say? So I'm going to try doing the Super Chat giveaways maybe every other week. I need to get the rotation down. So I'll be doing, I do typically 2 giveaways a month. One will be the Patreon giveaway, and the other one is the sub 250 crate giveaways. And then the other 2, I'm going to try doing Super Chat giveaways on those, just so I can space it out, giving something away every week. I like just kind of giving the stuff back to you guys. I'll be honest, a lot of it's stuff's kind of stuff that I've used or got and done with, and I'd rather give it to you guys than to just try to sell it, because selling stuff is kind of a pain in the ass. But anywho, that's just kind of my thoughts on it. We're coming up to the end of the stream here. It's 11:54. The man, the myth, the legend, Joshua Bardwell should be streaming here very shortly. I want to thank all of you all for coming out and supporting me. If you want to support me the best way you can, these folks up here, my Patreon supporters, they are what keeps this going. Every bit that comes into the channel goes directly back to you folks. I run this at a loss for the love of it. Whatever comes in on Patreon typically comes back in a giveaway quad. Had a bunch of people drop off Patreon for financial reasons, so I typically do like a 5-inch giveaway every other month. It's been every 3rd month now. Next month will probably be, it'll be a full quad giveaway, just because it's been a little while. This month, like I said, giving away the Immersion RC Ghost setup, which this transmitter can be flashed to Express LRS if you want to go that way, which I would probably recommend. I'm not sure if the receiver side can, but either way, this is a full Immersion RC Nano Tramp transmitter and ghost receiver all in one. So that's the Patreon giveaway for the month. $5 and up, you already have the link to enter. Anybody under $5, the link will be live, and I'll send an announcement out the day I go live with the giveaway. So just so you know, right now, you have a 1 in 16 chance of picking that up. Let's see. I always have an Osher. See, yeah. Gotcha. Found you. Found your stream a few weeks ago. Just love tech and FPV, and you're helping me understand. Yeah, Focus. If you haven't gotten on my Discord, that is the best way to get in touch with me and to interact. I have a lot of really awesome, knowledgeable people over there on Discord. They really help out a ton with the channel. And it's the best way to go back and forth with things, either through direct messaging or just in the many sections I have. I work on a lot of different things over there. We do FPV chit chat, tech help, tuning. Brandon Baked Beans is a awesome help with the whole tuning thing. I'm learning a lot from him. A lot of 3D printer stuff. That Prusa has been running nonstop for about a week and a half straight, working on building a Voron 2.4. And I'm also restoring a old vintage motocrosser. It's just another thing that I'm doing, just trying to keep myself busy. Those videos, I've been recording those in the background. I've got like 5 or 6 videos to release. I haven't started releasing those on the channel. Those will probably be coming out on Mondays. They will not replace my normal FPV quad content, but they will just be in conjunction with it. If you don't like it and you don't care about it, just don't watch it. It's not something I'm going to do all the time. It's just I'm not doing it enough to justify making another channel. But I want to get the information out there because there are people out there that are interested in, and I'm interested in. And, you know, maybe it'll spark someone else's curiosity. You know, it's like watching a documentary. The documentary does not have to be something you're interested in if it's a good documentary. Let that soak in. A good documentary does not have to be something you're interested in. And maybe it shouldn't be. Just a thought. All right, folks. Well, that's it for me. I'm gonna go. Today's a work day. Dishes, laundry, cleaning gerbil cages. I do that every other week because they get kind of stinky. Go cut the lawn, and maybe this afternoon, make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notified. I think I'll go out and put this guy to the test, and we'll do some live streaming over DJI. Why not? Because that'll be pretty cool. I'm kind of curious how well it's going to look over OBS as well. And I'll drag a different camera out there. I used my Logitech Brio, and it did not cope with the sunlight at all. It was horrific. Could not get it to not be blown out. Mike Berman, I love documentaries except Idiocracy. Idiocracy is the best documentary ever created. Anybody who can hear my voice right now, please go watch Idiocracy. I don't care what it costs. Go watch it. It is the best documentary you will ever see, and it is absolutely scary. It should scare you. It's a comedy, but it basically turned into a documentary. If you guys haven't seen Idiocracy, you've got to see it. A good confession doesn't necessarily mean they did it. Greg, need DJI on a big screen, visually impaired. Okay, yep, this is definitely what you're going to want to do. So stay watching the channel. I'll have a video on this very soon. Yeah, we are living it. You are 100%, always have been 100% true. It truly is. I know you love it. Electrolytes. Hey, man, it's what plants crave. All right, folks, on that note, I am going to get out of here. Thank you all for coming by and hanging out today. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, stay positive. Go to tweetfb.com. Go there. Get a set of grips. Get an ELRS module. Find the links to support me through Patreon or all the affiliated vendors. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, folks. We'll see you next time.